in the session on vision of equality. So we'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 5, Text 18. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni Cha Eva Swapake Cha Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha Panditaha Samadarshinaha Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Panditaha Samadarshinaha Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Online.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshanaha
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
विद्या विनय संपन्ने
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि
Brahmane Gavihastini
सुनी चैवा स्वपाके च
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
पंडिता समदर्शिनः
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
विद्या विनय संपन्ने
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि
Brahmane Gavihastini
शुनि चैव स्वपाके च
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
पंडिताः समदर्शिनः
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
विद्या विनय संपन्ने
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि
Brahmane Gavihastini
सुनी चैव स्वपाके च
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Panditaha Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha. Anyone else online?
विद्या विनय संपन्ने
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि
Brahmane Gavihastini
शुनि चैव स्वपाके च
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
पंडिता समदर्शिनः
Pandita Samadarshinaha. Anyone else online? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Ankit Prabhu?
Yes, but Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Only she likes food which are sweet. Vidya Vinaya Samapane.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini
Brahmane Gavihastini
Suri Cheva Swa Pakecha
Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha
Pandita Samadarshinaha.
Pandita Samadarshinaha. Yeah, I know you just joined, so you may not have heard all the chanting. That's why you had some difficulty. That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else left? Okay, synonyms. Vidya with education. Vinaya and gentleness. Sampanne fully equipped. Name in the Brahmana. Gavi in the cow. Hastini in the elephant. Shuni in the dog. Cha and Eva certainly. Swapake in the dog eater, the outcast. Cha respectively. Panditaha, those who are wise. Samadarshinaha, who see with equal vision. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater outcast. Translation with repetition. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater outcast. Purport. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species, but these differences of body are meaningless from the point of view of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord, by His plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because He treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains Himself as Paramatma regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the super soul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and super soul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and supersoul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the supersoul is conscious of all bodies. The supersoul is present in all bodies without distinction. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental purport. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have been studying chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita, which has 4 sections. The first section was Stay in the World from verse 1 to 12. And then we completed the second section also, 3 doers, and which was verses 13 to 16. And now we are in the third section of the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The entire section is called Equal Vision. And in fact, today's topic is also equal vision. So this can be said to be perhaps one of the most important verses. The 5th chapter is full of important verses. There is no verse that is not important in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna would not have said it. And yet, there are some verses that just stick to the mind and they leave a deep impression. This is one such verse in the entire Bhagavad Gita. 5th chapter is often symbolized with this verse, or the last verse of the 5th chapter is also extremely important. Which is quoted very, very frequently by Srila Prabhupada, and this verse is also quoted very often by Srila Prabhupada. So this verse is something that is very much worthy of being memorized, and the key takeaways from this also very pertinent to be remembered and contemplated upon. So this section of equal vision we saw last time. Tad buddhayas tadatmanas tannishthas tatparayanaha gachanti apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. We studied this yesterday only. Tad buddhayas tadatmanas tannishthas tatparayanaha gachanti apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. And Prabhu had stressed the importance of the word kalmashaha, how kalmashaha is translated as misgivings. That we have so many different types of misgivings in our life, maybe defeated expectations or unmet expectations from various quarters, because we are having expectations from interactions around us, expectations from relationships, expectations as results of our activities, and therefore when those do not materialize as we expect, there are misgivings. And these misgivings sometimes are directed towards people, sometimes towards other species, sometimes even towards the Lord, where we think, oh, this is not fair, the Lord is not fair, therefore there must not be a kind and benevolent Lord. Such a thing does not exist. This also is a conclusion that many people come to. So all these kalmashahas, misgivings, are cleansed by knowledge. What kind of knowledge? The knowledge that comes as a result of one's fixing one's intelligence, buddhayaha, tad buddhayaha, mind, tad atmanaha, faith, tat nishthaha, and refuge, tatparayanaha, complete shelter. So when one fixes one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge, all of them on the Supreme, then one acquires complete knowledge, and that results in cleansing of all these misgivings. And then what happens? Gachanti apunaravrittim. Such a person proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So there is a gradual progression in the 5th chapter that has been that we have studied so far. How in the first section, verses 1 to 12, it is recommended that one must stay in the world and be renounced from the fruit of one's activities. So that is the stay in the world section. How it is not advisable to simply give up work. Renunciation of work is not the answer. Rather, one must perform one's duty without the expectation of the result, without claiming proprietorship over the result, and how one can do that has been explained in those 12 verses. And after that, when a person does that, how a person develops the intelligence that, oh, I'm actually not the only doer. There are 3 doers. And I'm in fact the person who expresses desire, and the Paramatma as a heart in the heart sanctions that desire, and then the material nature carries out that desire that I have, which is sanctioned by Paramatma. So there are these 3 factors or 3 persons or 3 things that are causing work to be performed. So there are 3 doers. So this also we saw. And then once a person understands this, that I am not the doer, I'm simply desiring or not desiring different things. So that naturally there is a certain detachment that comes from the results, because one realizes that I am not the actual doer here. The modes of material nature, they are acting. I'm not even moving a muscle, because in fact all that muscle, the intelligence, the mind, everything that is resulting in this work, it's not me. I'm the spirit soul distinct from the body. So as one has that knowledge, as that knowledge develops, immediate next logical step is to then understand the position of the Supreme Lord. You understand the position of Paramatma and surrender one's intelligence, mind, faith, and take complete shelter of this Paramatma and Supreme Lord. So once a person attains that state, then comes today's verse. So there is a progression which is being shown here. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So a person who has achieved this Tan Tad Buddhaya Tan Tadatmana Tan Nishtha Tan Parayanaha, that state when a person has reached, such a person is called Panditaha. And such a person is Samadarshinaha. They have equal vision. Why they have equal vision? Because they have got complete knowledge, as we saw in the previous translation. The person is having complete knowledge, and the result of the complete knowledge is Vinaya, Vidya, Vinaya Sampanne. So as a virtue of that true knowledge, the person becomes humble. So humility is a byproduct of such, it's a natural byproduct of such a true knowledge. And the other factor that Prabhupada mentions in the translation is, and in the purport rather, is that such a person is also gentle. So gentleness and humility, these are the natural byproducts of complete knowledge. So if somebody says that I have acquired all the knowledge, I've read all the books, I understand that I'm not the body, but then such a person is very rough in their behavior, or has a pride in their knowledge, then it can be understood that that person is actually not in complete knowledge, because the outcome of knowledge, Prabhupada explains, what is the outcome of knowledge? What's the meaning of humility? He has explained this in many places when devotees have asked him, what is the meaning of humility? Then he would explain that when you understand that all your knowledge, all your strength, all your wealth, even your guns, all your buildings, roads and the institutions and the government, when you have complete faith that none of these can protect you, that in fact Krishna is the only protector. When you have such firm, unshakable faith, then you become humble. Because it's very clear, one becomes very abundant to such a person that in fact nothing is in our control and we cannot even protect ourselves. Such a person becomes completely confident that Krishna is the only refuge. And in that knowledge, that person becomes very, very humble automatically. It is not something that is artificially developed as a inculcation of a habit, but rather it is an automatic byproduct of the knowledge of one's true position. So this humility and gentle behavior is an automatic byproduct. And with such qualities, what is the kind of equal vision that the person has? Brahmane Gavi Hastini. So a gentle Brahmana who is naturally somebody would look at with respect, because a Brahmana by nature is gentle by the virtue of their knowledge and their behavior and their habits, sattvic habits. They're naturally very gentle. So a Brahmana, or an elephant, which is after all just an animal, or a Hastini, or a cow, or even a dog. Generally, dog is not considered a very clean animal, and it is not recommended to associate very much with dogs. But even a dog, which is not considered to be very clean, and it's not does not have positive influence on a person, but even a dog, and even a person who eats a dog eater. Imagine a dog eater. No, where is a Brahmana and where is a dog eater? Dog eater is considered the worst of the people, because dog is such an endearing animal, and it is very easy to understand the personality aspects of a dog. And first of all, eating any kind of flesh immediately puts a person at the lowest end of the spectrum. But amongst all the animals, when you start eating higher animals which exhibit emotions, animals that exhibit clear cognizant behavior, ability to recognize people, when a person starts eating such animals that are practically considered family members by many people, then that puts a person totally at the bottom of the society. Even such a person, all these people are seen on an equal footing by such a learned person. So this is the verse. So in the purport, talks about this concept of equality. So let us just see what Prabhupada is speaking. So first Prabhupada says, a Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. So Krishna conscious person doesn't make any such distinction. And then Prabhupada says the Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species, but these differences of the body are meaningless from a viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. So then the question may be asked, so does it mean that we should go and embrace a tiger? That we should take our leftover prasadam and start feeding a tiger? Because after all, a tiger is also an animal, a snake is also an animal, a spider, cockroach, all these are animals. And a Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. Very nice to hear that, but does it mean that we would go and associate with all these different animals? How to understand this? So I'll just pause here and see if you have any thoughts online to this question. How do you answer this question? If a person is equal to all species, to all people, all kinds of caste and creed and everything, does it mean that one should go and start hugging a tiger, an elephant, or a lion, or a snake? What should you do?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, please.
The dharma of the different kinds of animal is different. So the tiger has got this body because he would like to eat the flesh always. So in the the birds has taken his body because he would like to live in the sky. So the characters are different in different species.
Therefore,
Therefore, we we cannot go and associate with the tiger, because the tiger has the tendency to eat the flesh. So if we go to him, then according to his characteristic, according to his dharma, he will actually eat us, right?
What about this statement, Krishna conscious person does not see distinction between species?
Yeah, because Krishna is living with each and every individual, because he actually loves with his son. But according to his past karma, he has to take this body because his desire was that. So
No, but
Krishna is actually working with
what
the
is our
desires.
outlook towards that? So if you don't associate with the tiger because he's going to eat you, so how do you see that tiger then?
Because Krishna is always there. So actually the tiger's desire is to eat the flesh. So actually the desire of the jiva is being fulfilled by the Lord only. So actually without the Lord, no one can fulfill his desires.
Okay, thank you for that answer. That's right. So every living entity has a certain swabhava, has a certain nature acquired of the material modes of nature of the body that it is inhabiting. So the statement here means that the Panditaha, who's Samadarshinaha, is seeing that every living entity has a spirit soul inhabiting different kinds of bodies, and they're in different states. But what he sees is a spirit soul. And then he also sees that whatever activity that is done by the body, it is actually approved by the Lord, who is seated as Paramatma in the heart. So if there is a entity that is performing a certain activity, it may look like an abominable activity to our eyes. But the Pandita sees that this activity is approved by the Lord, seated in the heart. So who am I to judge? If there is a demoniac person who is killing some dog or killing some cows or any kind of activity that person is performing, that person, no doubt, he is performing their activity, but how is that activity being performed? It is performed because the Supreme Lord is present in the person's heart, and he is carrying out and he is directing the material energy to act in that particular way as per the desire of the living entity. So the Panditaha Samadarshinaha, he sees the spirit soul in all the living entities, and he sees Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, and that Supreme Lord is somebody that he's intimately connected with. And this is the third bullet here that Prabhupada is saying in this. This is due to the relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. So in all our heart, there is Paramatma, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshi Arjuna Tishtati. So he's present in our heart. He's present in my heart, he's present in your heart also. So when the Panditaha is develops an intimate relationship with Paramatma, he sees the same Paramatma in everyone's heart. So because the Paramatma is the same as the Paramatma in my heart, therefore in effect, that Paramatma is permitting that to happen very much the same way as sometimes we fall sick, right? Our body, it's not always the same. In our youth, we had a youthful body full of energy, full of strength. As we grow older, the body grows older, and this is allowed by the Paramatma. This is the nature. This is how nature is working. Similarly, the same Paramatma has also allowed all the other bodies to act in different ways, and they've been given different kinds of bodies. And that is my own dear Lord who has given that. And that is why the Panditaha looks very compassionately with all these different animals. Of course, the Panditaha, the true pure devotee, is able to impact even these animals in a way that we ordinarily cannot imitate that. But there is, of course, the example of how when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went through the forests of Jharkhand, He was walking through the forest of Jharkhand, and his assistant Balabhadra, he was walking behind him, and that is a dense forest. The forest of Jharkhand is a very, very dense forest at the time. And as he was walking, gradually all the animals of the forest, they heard or they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they became so attracted by him that they completely kept aside their own nature of attacking. For example, a tiger would always attack a deer, but the deer and the tiger and the peacock and the elephant and the bear, they all started following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started singing and dancing, and all these animals started singing and dancing. Such a wonderful, miraculous event occurred in the forest of Jharkhand. Now, that is not something that we can try to imitate. So we cannot go to the tiger and start chanting Hare Krishna, means the tiger will not start chanting Hare Krishna. It's not going to happen. That's because we have not reached the Pandita Samadarshina stage. Because we do not have complete, for example, in the case of Prahalad Maharaj, when Prahalad Maharaj was thrown in a snake pit, in a pit of snakes, what happened? The snakes did not even touch him. Because Prahalad Maharaj has achieved the Pandita Samadarshana stage, and simply by his association, the Paramatma in the heart of all these snakes influenced those snakes to not exhibit their normal behavior and change their behavior. So the true transcendentalist does not see the body, rather he sees the soul. So what is this in the soul versus super soul? There are some analysis which has been given by Prabhupada in the purport, differences between super soul and soul. Prabhupada says in the purport, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart, in every living entity's body, without distinction. So this is it's a wonderful opulence of the Lord, wherein he is present by his own plenary portion as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and he does not make any distinction. This is a very advanced devotee versus somebody who's a very inimical to the Lord, atheistic person, demoniac person, or an animal or a fish or a plant. It doesn't make any differentiation. The Lord does not make any differentiation. The soul, on the other hand, is present only in the body of one living entity, only inhabits at one body. The Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living being as a friend. Yet he maintains himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. So no matter what circumstance the living entity goes through, just imagine what kind of a mercy this is of the Supreme Lord, that in spite of millions and millions of lifetimes that we have passed through various species of life, there are 8.4 million species of life. We have been through every species of life. We have been as fish, we have gone through the tree body, we have gone through the animal, bear body, or any kind of body you can take. We have been through that, and finally we got the human body. In every one of those bodies, the Lord has been with us through thick and thin as our dearmost friend. The soul, of course, has no such mystic opulence. It is not present in any other living entity. It is just present in one body, and that's all the soul can do. The super soul and soul, however, share some commonalities. They are both of spiritual quality. They are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. Sat Chit and Ananda. So that is a quality that both the soul and the super soul possess. But Prabhupada says, but there also there is a difference. What is the difference? The Supreme Lord is conscious of all the bodies because he's present in every heart, everyone's heart, right? But our soul, the individual jiva, is conscious only of one body in which the soul resides. So I have no idea what's happening in your body. In my own body also, I have no idea. Hardly we know what is happening. So even that one body, we barely know anything. So these are the differences that between soul and super soul, the analysis that Prabhupada brings about. Yes, Prabhupada, I stopped sharing. So there is this wonderful pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he meets Ramanand Raya on the banks of Godavari. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is touring South India, he goes through the various parts of South India, and then finally he reaches the banks of Godavari. So in this river Godavari, as he saw this river, he immediately thought of Yamuna, and then he was in ecstasy. And then as he was doing his kirtan and singing and chanting, and he was lost in ecstasy. From the other side, there was Ramananda Raya, who appeared there with his entourage, Ramananda Raya, and came with a large group of people. Ramananda Raya was the governor of the Madras province, and then he was followed by many Brahmanas. He performed his rituals on the river, and then he saw that there is effulgent sannyasi. Ramananda Raya sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sees what a wonderful sannyasi. He's full, as brilliant as 100 suns, and beautiful body, big, strong built body. And then he immediately runs after him and falls flat and offers his obeisances, offers Dandavat, Pranam. And then and as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees him, he asks him, "Are you Ramananda Rai?" And then Ramananda Rai says, "Yes, I'm your humble servant." And immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces Ramananda Raya. And then there were so much ecstatic emotions that they practically fell unconscious. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was unable to stop his crying. His constantly tears flowing from his eyes. After all, Ramananda Raya was none other than Vishakha Devi as the Gopi in Vrindavan pastimes of the Supreme Lord. He has appeared as Ramananda Raya. So there is natural attraction between the Supreme Lord, who has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Vishakha, who is Ramananda Raya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also embodies the mood of Radharani, and Vishakha is her dearmost Sakhis, along with Lalita and Vishakha. Radharani is they are dearmost Sakhis of Radharani. So from both sides, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is absolutely ecstatic to meet Ramananda Raya. So as seeing this, all the Brahmanas who had come, they were all struck with wonder that this sannyasi has got the luster of the effulgence of Brahman. But how is it that he is crying upon embracing a Shudra, a member of the fourth caste in social order? Because Ramananda Raya was a governor, automatically he was not accepted as a Brahmana. So he was in service of Mughal emperors. He had to pay. He was almost like you can say, an employee. Therefore, he was not accepted as a Brahmana. So Brahmanas were all very surprised. How is it that sannyasi is embracing? And then Ramananda Rai says that you have specifically come here to deliver me. You are so merciful that you alone can deliver all the fallen souls. So in this Prabhupada quotes this wonderful verse. This is important for us to know, because Panditaha Samadarshinaha, how is it that a Panditaha reaches the Samadarshina state? How is it that he is able to dovetail? How is it that he is able to surrender his intelligence, mind, nishtha, the faith, and complete shelter? How can he take the full refuge? Parayanaha. How is he able to take refuge of the Supreme Lord? How does this happen? It is because of his intimate relationship with the Supreme Super Soul, as has been mentioned in today's purport, right? Intimate relationship with the Super Soul. So how does this intimate relationship happen? It happens because of this awareness of the mercy of the Supreme Lord towards his children, towards all the living entities. So there is a wonderful song that Prabhupada quotes, song composed by Narottam Das Thakur. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Tuma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagat Samsare Patita Pavana Hetu Tavayavatara Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaive Ara. So this song is recognizing and appreciating and glorifying the merciful incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because unless we are able to see the mercy of the Lord, there is no way for us to take refuge. You can only take refuge, you can only take shelter of somebody that you believe will give shelter, that you have full confidence will give shelter. And this personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not simply giving shelter by staying in Vrindavan, in Goloka Dham, but he has come all the way and is freely distributing the love of Krishna. Tuma bina ke dayalu jagat samsari. There is nobody more merciful than you. And you have come simply to deliver the fallen and conditioned souls. Patita pavana hetu tavaya avatara. Not only that, but there is nobody more suitable, nobody more eligible for that than me. Mosama patita patu, mosama patita prabhu, na pai beara. There is nobody that you will find more suitable for liberation than me. So, with this confidence and with this awareness of the merciful nature of the Supreme Lord, Ramananda Raya was fully aware of that. So as soon as he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately he fell down and he was glorifying him. So further, Prabhupada also talks about how the humility of the Goswamis is shown. So another quality that has been described in today's verse is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaya Suvake Chaiva Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So in this Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, humility, humble sages by the virtue of knowledge. So this humility that is displayed by the close confidential associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so wonderful. They were all very exalted personalities and they were mandalapatis, they were leaders of their area. But then they gave up all of that simply to be in the association of the Supreme Lord, and they completely surrendered themselves. Tyaktva turnam ashesha mandalapatim shrenim sada tuchhavat bhutva dinaganesha kau karunaya kaupina kantashritau. So just Kaupina that they were wearing, they simply changed to Kaupina. They completely gave up all their wealth, all their position, everything was given up, and they were living very, very simply. There is this wonderful story of Raghunath Das Goswami also, how he was living so humbly afterwards when he came to Vrindavan, that he used to there is Raghunath Das Goswami only, right, when he used to live on the remnants of the footsteps left by people in front of the temple. So initially he would beg alms, and then gradually he even gave up begging of alms, and whatever people would take prasadam and leave the prasadam behind, he would take that prasadam, that food which was left over, and after that even he would wait for the dogs and the cows to eat that remnants, and the leftover of the dogs and cows he would take that. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going, and then he heard about this, and then he came there, and then he saw how he was eating this food which was left over even by the cows and dogs, and immediately he said, "Oh, you're eating such wonderful food without giving me," and he snatched that and started eating that from him. So the Supreme Lord is eating the food which are remnants of cows and dogs. So this is the humility that comes out of true knowledge. So Ramananda Raya then says that, look, although there are hundreds of thousands of men behind me, and this audience of men that have come with me, this even includes Brahmanas, but just by seeing you, all their hearts have completely melted. And then he says that everybody is chanting the holy name of Krishna. Everybody is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. So, and Ramananda Raya is saying that, my dear sir, according to your behavior and your bodily features, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. It is impossible for ordinary living beings to possess such transcendental qualities. So like this, he's glorifying. So actually one thing that we should see is that Panditaha Samadarshinaha is able to bring about such a transformation in the hearts of every living entity they come in contact with. So it is not to be imitated, but it is to be understood that when you see an exalted personality interact with mass of people of different background, different ethnicities, different living entities, different species, and you can see by their behavior how they are impacting that life. Not simply that yes, something is going on in their mind, but then there is nothing else. And anybody can claim, oh, I see everybody equal. Anyone can claim that. How do we guard ourselves against false pandita? Anyone can say like that, right? So how do we know that? It can be known from the effect that is felt by those living entities. So here Ramananda Raya is saying how those thousands of men, they completely transformed simply by the sight of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Prabhupada is quoting these verses on how Krishna is a kind father of everyone. Why is it that he is able to, the Pandita is able to relate to the Lord? Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the seed-giving father. Sarvayo nishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavatiyah tasham brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. He is the original seed-giving father. Naturally, he is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and he is extremely kind and a truly learned person, a learned transcendentalist is able to appreciate this relationship. And then, of course, Krishna also says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho stina priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai teteshu chapiham. I am equally kind to everyone. So Supreme Lord is equally kind to an elephant, a cow, a brahmana, a dog, and a dog eater. He is equally kind to all of them. But of course, one who is always in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is always also in him. So he is particularly affectionate towards his devotees. That is natural. But he is equally kind to everyone. Because Krishna is equally kind to everyone, therefore the learned transcendentalist, who is in intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord in his heart, is also equally kind to everyone. There is a classification, a very interesting classification of devotees that has been explained in the Nectar of Instruction and also in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 11th canto, there is one verse that says, Sri Haviruvaya Sarva Bhuteshu Yapashed Bhagavat Bhavamatmanah Bhutani Bhagavatyatmani Yesha Bhagavatottamaha. So that is Sarva Bhuteshu Yapashed Bhagavat Bhavam Atmanah Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani Yesha Bhagavatottama Bhagavat Uttama Bhagavata. So who is a Uttama Bhagavata? Such a Uttama Bhagavata, or the most advanced learned transcendentalist, is one who sees that all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is in Krishna, Bhagavat Bhavam Atmanaha. So everyone is in Krishna, and Krishna is also with everyone. So such a person, such a vision is only possible for a person who is very advanced. And of course, we have also seen in Bhagavad Gita how in the 6th chapter, in the 30th verse, Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam chamai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sachamena pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. And Prabhupada says, a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Krishna everywhere and sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena shanta sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Santaha, what do they do? Santaha Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. And their eyes are anointed with the love of Krishna. Premanjana Anjana Churita. Prema Anjana Churita. So their eyes, instead of the normal eyeliner, Anjana, their eyes are in fact anointed with Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. And wherever they see, they are seeing the Supreme Lord in their heart with pure love. So, so this is the purport of the verse today, that the Panditaha, the learned transcendentalist, is fully appreciative of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And because of that, because of his intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord, he is able to appreciate that the Supreme Lord is present in everyone's heart. And because the Lord is present in everyone's heart, he sees everyone equally, in equal vision. And this is a real non-discrimination, a true equality of vision, something that we cannot imitate, but as we advance in devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, following the rules and regulations, then automatically that stage will come one day. So I'll just pause here and see if you have any questions before we go on to the next part of today's program. Yes, you have no misgivings. You have no illusions or misunderstandings. You don't blame that living entity for being the way they are. You understand that that living entity has a nature, has a nature that it has obtained by the virtue of its body. There are some people you'll see they are very athletic. They can throw the javelin fastest, furthest. So you will not be envious. Why I am not able to throw javelin like that? Let me cut off his hand. Then I'll be the Olympic champion. So like that, you will not feel envious towards that person. So the envy goes away. So the envy is taken away because you realize that that's his God-given nature. Swapake, sure. It's not Swayam Pakam, it is Swapakecha. Shunicha eva. Yeah. Is that question answered? Any other questions, doubts, anyone? What is the one takeaway that you would have? Anybody would like to give? Bhagavad Tattva Prabhu, what is the one takeaway that you have from this verse?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, it is Pandita Samadarshana. Basically, like, each and every, when we see sectionally, we see different bodies. But Pandita, who is
What is our call to
a
action?
learned man.
What should we do differently? Is there anything that we can do that we have learned in this verse?
That's what judging the people by seeing the
That is
bodies.
the outcome actually. That is not something we can do. See, that Panditaha Samadarshinaha is a symptom of such a person. So that is not something that we can simply do like that. Oh, let me not be judgmental. It won't happen. Because our heart has got Kalmashaha in the previous verse which you have studied, right? Because of the Kalmashaha, we will not be able to see Samadarshinaha. We will not have that. We cannot simply imitate that. It's not possible. So in today's verse, the key point is of the intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord. It is all of this is the outcome of that. We should be striving to develop the intimate relationship with the Lord, with the full awareness of the extent to which the Lord goes to deliver us. This would be the main takeaway. Anybody would like to share anything?
And Prabhuji, one thing which you said, like we as a devotee, we have to be very, very compassionate and humble.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have to be very, very compassionate. Automatically, that will also come if we will follow this diligently, right? Whatever you have explained today.
Please continue.
Yeah, that's one thing I
Okay,
mean,
that's a comment. Okay,
apart from
that's an observation. You are making an observation.
correct.
So, the compassion, for us to be compassionate, you're saying, when there are different classifications of devotees in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami has given. There is a Kanishta Adhikari, there is a Madhyama Adhikari, and there is a Uttama Adhikari. So a Kanishta Adhikari is relating to the Supreme Lord in the deity form in the temple and is very happy to engage in all the different kinds of services using their own skills. Somebody sings very well, they're very happy to do kirtan. And then somebody can make very nice garlands. They make very nice garlands with that. Somebody is able to do some other service. So they are very, very much engaged in that. And through that, they make advancement. Although as part of doing the service, they become a little bit proud that, oh, I am doing this service and this is my service, like that. But it's okay. As a part of that service, they make advancement. Then gradually they come to the Madhyama Adhikari stage. So in the Madhyama Adhikari stage, the person develop friendliness towards other devotees and non-envious people. And they stay away from those who are extremely envious to the Supreme Lord. So in this stage, as they progress within the Madhyama Adhikari, from the beginning stage to the end stage, as they become mature Madhyama Adhikari, they become very compassionate towards all the devotees and particularly towards innocent people who are not yet devotees. So they engage the innocent people in the chanting of the holy names and serving the Supreme Lord. So this is the compassion towards non-envious people is a natural outcome of advancement in Krishna consciousness, as a natural outcome of deepening of our relationship with the Supreme Lord. So when you have Sambandha, then Abhideya Prayojana, correct? So this compassion is something that is a quality that develops. It is not something that you try to artificially show. Because real compassion is the compassion for oneself. I am struggling, my spirit soul, I, the real I, am struggling lifetime after lifetime after. Am I having compassion for myself? That is lacking. So we cannot really be pretending to have compassion on others. So I'll stop here because we have a next part of our program to welcome the Supreme Lord on the day of Janmashtami. So as part of this Janmashtami celebrations, we have a series of events on a daily basis. I would like to invite His Grace Sadananda Prabhu to say a few words about this program as well as today's event, today's activity.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I welcome each one of you again for today's activity session. And I first of all would like to thank. I saw that today the participation was little less because it was Kirtan. But nevertheless, that should not dampen the enthusiasm to welcome Krishna. Today we have a very, very interesting activity, very practical. And what that activity is going to be, I will leave the speaker to explain. But I wanted to share a very interesting quote which we had in the last Bhagavatam class. In the 1.5.24 purport, the last few lines. Actually, Prabhupada says, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, nobody can satisfy the orders of, nobody can fully execute the orders of the spiritual master. And without doing so, nobody can go back home, back to Godhead. Mind you, these three words, without being self-controlled, without being fully obedient, and without being disciplined. nobody can execute the orders of the spiritual master. Executing the orders of the spiritual master is not a joke, because it is no ordinary person that we come across in our life. If you remember the words from the Guru Puja song that we sing, Jahara prasade bhai e bhava toriya jai. By his mercy, by the mercy of spiritual master, that special person, one can cross over this ocean of material existence. Jahara prasade bhai e bhava toriya jai. Not ordinary. So if we have to become the recipient of his mercy, then we should follow his instructions. But to follow his instructions, we have to be self-controlled, we have to be disciplined, and we have to be fully obedient. That is how we can establish our Jahara prasade bhai e bhava toriya jai. Krishna prapti hoye jaha hoite. Krishna prapti is not a small thing. It's not some achieving some position in a company or buying a house or a car. Krishna prapti is very, very rare, very difficult. So if our goal is to achieve Krishna, then these things are very, 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 very essential. So to explain the activity for today, we have a devotee amongst us who has been trying to follow this instructions of our beloved spiritual master very sincerely, having taken initiation from him, and inspiring others who are also grahasthas and who are trying to practice. Without further ado, let me introduce the speaker for today. It is none other than the speaker who was taking the Bhagavad Gita session. It is our Balram Anuj Prabhu. So can we have Haribol unmute?
Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol.
Over to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Okay, so you have just heard from Prabhu how it is important to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and obedience is an extremely important aspect. So our goal is Krishna Prema, to develop loving relationship, intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is our goal. Now there are kinds of bhakti, of development or development of devotional service. One is called spontaneous love for the Lord. This manifests itself in pure devotees, those who are already fully liberated, Nitya Mukta, Nitya Siddhi, Nitya Siddhas. So they are eternally liberated people. They have got spontaneous love for the Lord. But for the rest of us, we have to go through the process of sadhana siddhi or vaidhi bhakti. So a process of advancing in devotional service through the process of regulated devotional service, where there are rules and regulations that are given by the spiritual master. He lays down these rules and regulations. He says, you must do this, you must do this. Only then you can advance. Now, these rules and regulations, sometimes they're not very palatable. They're not sometimes very easy to do, but they're necessary. Why? Because our frame of mind, we're always mad. They are intoxicated with going after progressing in material development. Kunti Maharani says, Janmaishwarya Shrutashribhir Yedamana Madha Puman Naivarhati Abhidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. So she says that only those who have completely exhausted materially, that those who have completely given up the hopes of or plans of advancing in Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, in all these things, good parentage, in opulence, wealth, only as somebody who is completely exhausted in all these things, they can approach the Supreme Lord. So for us, how is it possible for us to approach and develop love for the Lord? It is not possible ordinarily, because we have got so many anarthas, so many unwanted desires because of the influence of the modes of material nature. Now these modes of material nature are acting on us very, very strongly, particularly the modes of passion and the mode of ignorance is always acting very, very strongly on us. Whereas our goal should be to try to increase the mode of goodness. Particularly in Janmashtami is coming, Supreme Lord Krishna is glorified as Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. He is glorified as a protector of Brahmanas, and Srila Prabhupada wanted that this Krishna consciousness movement is a way to develop Brahmanas. It is to increase the culture of Brahminical qualities. And one of the important qualities of Brahmanas is given in Bhagavad Gita, Shamo Damas Tapas Shaucham Shantir Arjavam Evacha Jnana Vijnana Mastikyam Brahma Karma Sodbhavajam. So as we want to develop Brahminical qualities, Sattva Guna, we want to become prominent in Sattva Guna so that we may have a chance to develop the love of God. For us, Shaucham is a very important quality, cleanliness. The Shaucham has got two kinds of Shaucham, two kinds of cleanliness. One is to take bath. When you take bath, automatically body becomes clean. That is the external cleanliness. But there is an internal cleanliness also. Srila Prabhupada says, Sabahya Bhyantara Suchihi. Sarvavastha Gatopi Va. What is that? Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastha Gatopi Va. Yes, Maritari Kaksham Sa Bhyantara Suchihi. So this Bahya and Abhyantara. There is external cleanliness and an internal cleanliness. To be internally cleansed. The most important thing is to rise up early. Rise up very early. One has to rise up during Brahma Muhurta, 1.5 hours before sunrise, and then evacuate, take bath, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the most important activity for internal cleanliness. If we have to achieve, if we want to develop Brahminical qualities, this is extremely important. Even in the Shat Goswami prayer, it is said, Shankya Purvaka Nama Gana Natabi Kalavasani Krito Nidrahara Vihara Kada Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo. So Nidrahara Vihara Kadi Nijito. Nidra Ahara. So all the Goswamis, they had completely conquered over Nidra and Ahara, sleep and eating and sleeping. So one who is able to conquer this eating and sleeping, such a person can control the senses and can progress towards becoming a Goswami. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Nati ashnatastu yogosti na chaikantam anashnataha na chati swapnashila jagruto naiva charjuna. So swapnashilasya, this matter of sleeping in a controlled way has been mentioned by Krishna in 2 verses in Bhagavad Gita. It is so important that there are 2 verses in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna directly mentions this. Na cha ati swapna shilasya. So if one is dreaming a lot, one is sleeping a lot, it is not possible for a person to advance in yoga. Particularly Prabhupada says, if you eat a lot, you will end up sleeping a lot because you have to dream a lot. Therefore, a person who wants to get up soon must eat in a controlled way. And Krishna says, Yukta hara viharasya Yukta chetasya karmasu, yukta swapna avabhodasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. So one must be regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work to be able to mitigate all the material pains by practicing the yoga system. So yukta swapna avabodhasya. So Prabhupada has given very strict instructions, very clear-cut direction in lecture after lecture. There is absolutely no doubt about this, that if one must make any progress at all in Krishna consciousness, one must wake up very early, 1.5 hours before sunrise, and evacuate, take bath, and attend Mangalarti, and chant the rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that one has taken oath to chant, recommended minimum 16 rounds, but depending upon one stage, one may have taken different oaths, but this is very important. So now coming to the activity for tomorrow. Let me just project my screen. The activity for tomorrow is for all of you to wake up and take bath early and come to the temple to attend Mangalarti. Hari Bol. So all those of you, I know some of you are shocked at this, but as I said, this kind of a practice, sometimes in the beginning, it is not very palatable, but it is necessary. It is necessary to do that. And as you continue to do this, undoubtedly you'll start relishing the taste of doing this. So all of you who are in station, who are in Massachusetts, certainly within 30-mile radius, a 30-minute driving distance from the temple, please plan to come tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. In this temple for Mangalarti. And those who are outside the 30-minute radius, you can plan to attend on Zoom. Even if you're outside, if you're able to come, you're most welcome. But this is the activity for tomorrow. Do you have any questions? Let me hand over to Prabhu for any comments. Uttishta Jagrata. Varan Nibodha me. Varan Nibodha. Uttishta Jagrata. You have put the tag. Awake, awake, sleeping souls. Uttishta Jagrata. Is that the one?
Uttishta Jagrata Prapta Varan.
Nibodha.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You have to exit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So I can count. Jagannath Tirtha is outside. Ankit is in Rhode Island, not very far, can come. Srinidhi Priya Mataji also is here only. iPhone, who's this iPhone? iPhone, can you give your identity, please? There are some who have joined as iPhone.
iPhone is Jagan Prabhu.
Prabhu Jagan.
Okay, the other iPhone? There is a second iPhone.
Probably is Hargopal Prabhu.
His name was there. Okay, yeah, his name, he's there. His name is there. Okay, whoever the other iPhone, if you can let us know. Who's Radha Raman?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. We live in Sunderland, Massachusetts, near Amherst, but I can join in Zoom tomorrow. I'll be able to join.
We would like if you can join us live because you are in Massachusetts. I don't know if you are joining for the first time, but the temple is in Shrewsbury.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, we have visited the temple. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you visited? Oh, very
Yes.
nice. Then there is a special reason why you should visit again tomorrow. Just for the sake of Krishna, not for anybody else. The challenge is to rise early and come and attend the Mangalarti. Of course, we should do it every day. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu was trying to say a verse from Kathopanishad, but I would like to quote Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the song that Vaishnava Acharya, Jeev Jago, Gora Chand Bole. Kota Nidra Jao, Maya Pisachira Khole. Jeev Jago, Gora Chand Bole. So Lord Gauranga is calling us, wake up. Wake up, O sleeping souls. Jeev Jago. Twice it is. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. You have slept so long on the lap of the witch Maya. Kota Nidra Jao, Maya Pisachira Khole. We have slept a lot, for a long time. So this is a wake-up call. And I request all of you, if you can plan now, it is 8:30, 8:40 Eastern time. Try to come early in the morning for Mangalarti tomorrow, 5 o'clock. For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sake, for Srila Prabhupada's sake, for Krishna's sake. It will be amazing. So I don't know, Radha Raman ji, if you are able to come, but please give it a try.
Sure, Prabhuji.
One day, if you can do it, Krishna will be pleased. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be pleased. Same holds true for others. Anandji, where are you located?
I am on Salem, New Hampshire. Is exit 2 is like a border of New Hampshire and Mass.
Border of New Hampshire and Mass, not very far, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I came there once. Is about 50 to 1 hour.
50 to 1 hour. I mean, morning time maybe it will be.
Morning will be faster, yeah. But tricky, bro.
Seen 5 o'clock morning anytime.
Oh yeah, I wake up like 6. 1 of 5 is 1 hour earlier.
Nice. Why don't you give it a try to come tomorrow? Just
Yeah.
keep it. See, the clue to get up early lies in sleeping early. If we plan to sleep early, and just for one day, if I can come So it is an invitation from Nitai Gauranga of IHF Boston. Please come and attend the Mangalarti tomorrow. So at least we have 16 participants. I discounted only Jagannath Tirtha Prabhu and Krishna Teja because I know they both are out of station. Rest all, Ankit also can come. It's how much? 1 hour drive, Ankit?
50 minutes, Prabhu.
Oh, less than 1 hour. So it's doable.
I'd like to share one thing on this part. Just 1 minute. There was a time when I was living in Acton, Massachusetts, and I used to travel 45 minutes on Sunday mornings to attend Mangalarti. So it is doable. For 6 months, I did that. It is entirely doable. I know it is difficult, and tomorrow is a working day. But if you don't eat tonight, if you already had prasadam, that may be difficult. But if you're not yet had prasadam, just avoid. Just don't have prasadam. It won't make any difference. Just have some juice or something and sleep on empty stomach. You'll have no difficulty in getting up tomorrow. Back to you.
Those who are not able to come here physically, like you can join us on Zoom. But I would strongly insist those who are living in Massachusetts tomorrow try to come. I know it's a Monday, but everything is possible if we decide in our mind. If we make up a sankalpa or a determination, nothing is impossible. 40 minutes, 45 minutes is hardly anything, and you come in the early morning, attend Mangalarti, just the darshan of the Lord in that Brahma Muhurta hours and chanting is so powerful. And just go back. Maybe you can go and catch up with your sleep if you have woken up and you're not used to. But it is all possible, and this will be all eternal credit. This is not something which is temporary. So I strongly recommend that you. Subham has just joined. Subham, you can't come physically to attend Mangalarti here tomorrow, I know, but you have to dial in. You have to join our session.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sure. At what time it is? 4:30, 5?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. I will definitely try.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any question? So I can see out of 16, only Jagannath Tirtha is exempted, Krishna Teja and Subham, 3. So 13 people should come. Oh, sorry, 17, no, 13. So 14 people should come tomorrow for our Mangalarti. We'll have some special prasadam for all of you. You'll not be disappointed. That much I can guarantee. All right. So that's the activity for today. To rise early for tomorrow and attend the Mangalarti. With that, we've come to the end of today's session, today's activity. I hope you are able to participate. The participation is, you're attending either physically or through Zoom link. And we will meet again tomorrow with another activity. All these activities are meant to purify our heart to welcome Krishna. Unless the heart is pure, Krishna never manifests. So join us in these daily activities. It is basically challenging ourselves. Our mind and intelligence always gives us justification for not doing this, for delaying, for postponing. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we have slept for many, many long times in the lap of the witch Maya. So let us get up tomorrow and attend Mangalarti. Before we close, can I request all of you to come in front of your camera and raise your hands, and we will chant once Hare Krishna Mahamantra and close for today. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Nitai Gauranga Bhagavan ki, Shri Janmashtami Maha Mahotsav ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you all for joining.
Haribol.
Good morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.